Hello, everybody. So today's topic is a bit serious, and we've done a few serious topics in the past. We talked about gun control, and we strongly believe that this topic is something that needs to be spoken and talked about, something that needs to be discussed. And so today's topic is basically about fat shaming. Raghav and I will be discussing. We'll be going into why it occurs, our personal experiences dealing with fat shaming, why you shouldn't do it, and so on and so forth. So, Raghav, do you want to start it off?
Okay, so why does fat shaming occur? I believe the first main reason regarding it is the societal standard that's set that like being like on the heavier side is just makes you ugly or like makes you not as good looking, because there are various reasons this happens, right? Like we see models, we see fashion shows, we see runways, we see Hollywood actors who have these amazing bodies, and it just like from our childhood, we it sets into our mind and everyone's mind, and then it just becomes a cycle. It becomes a vicious cycle that cannot be stopped, and we believe that that is the standard you need to meet, even though we don't realize that there is a multitude of reasons and that occurs. The reason runway models look the way they are is because they need to display a certain sample size of clothes uh, for everyone. That's the reason that uh, they're usually on the lighter side. And even actors, the way they look, it's not easy to achieve. They have to go through a lot. A lot of them substances such as steroids and other things, and they have a whole team behind them. It's like and they're getting paid for it. It obviously makes it a lot easier for us
Yeah.
as
I think,
students. For example, it's not easy to like set time apart, make a diet on our own, because like we're not cooking for ourselves. There's a lot of factors. Yeah, good man, go ahead, sorry.
when it comes to societal standards, also, it's not only, I've seen many people mention that that's why I want to get it out of the way. It's not only, although we're talking about fat shaming, it's not about only being too fat. There's this kind of opposite ends of the spectrum where you're too thin as well. So you get like, there's this kind of stigma around people who are too thin as well. They tell them to eat more, and that's literally this. It has the same adverse impact as on people who are too fat, let's say. And my belief, and like what I believe in, is that so I'm going to be talking about our experiences later, but I think that this standard that's set by society, sometimes I really question who sets that standard, right? Like, who is anybody to tell you that you're too fat or you're too thin, or you're not eating a lot, you're not fit enough or anything. Who is anybody to tell you that? That's how I feel. I know there's something called being healthy, but based on just your looks, right? You don't know what that person's going through. You don't know if they have any illness or anything which causes them to look the way they look. I just feel that's very unfair when people just judge based on the first look, the first physical appearance you have, and that is one of the societal standards. Also, yeah, you have to look like Salman Khan, or you have to look like Brad Pitt or something like that, which is something that just society sets. And as you said, as all the other points you mentioned also are valid. I think the second reason why fat shaming occurs, and mainly it occurs in our years, between primary, middle school ish, where majority of the kids suffer it, and there's a lot of fat shaming that happens. And I think that mainly happens. It's a projection of everyone's insecurities, right? The people who do it, uh, people are dealing with their own shit at home sometimes, something going on in their life, and they just take it out on you. And it doesn't have to be that they themselves are fat or anything. Like, they might have some personal problems as well, and they take out their insecurities on you, and that happens. I think even you'll agree, majority of these type of incidents only happen in school, if I'm not wrong, right? It only happens when in our school lives, this in middle school, elementary school.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Exactly. So, like, it's just that there are a lot of insecurity and people just taking it out on you. I think that's another reason why it occurs.
Yeah, these are the years where you're going through most of your changes, so you're most likely to suffer from insecurities a lot on your own over here, right? Someone has a lot of acne, for example. Let's say it's very common uh, when you are are in middle school. I suffered from acne. I still do. And your facial hair is growing out. It doesn't look good. It's all normal. Like you'll get through it.
Yeah,
So
I think wait, I'll just add something. If I'll just add something that even if you go through these insecurities, if anybody right now watching is going through it, it's still not an excuse to, even if you have these problems, it's not an excuse to go and diss somebody else, but whatever it may be, it's not only for fat shaming. Anything. I think it's not an excuse. Whatever you're going through, even it can be very bad. Like you shouldn't belittle anyone. You should not go out of your way to diss them. I think that's one thing I want to add. No matter what you're going through, right? If you have a problem, seek help. There are counselors, a lot of people who can help you, who are willing to be there. Even your parents sometimes. But if you're not comfortable with your parents, you can seek counseling as well from schools. That's one thing I wanted to add. Raghav, you can go on now.
even if like not schools or an adult, you can always talk to your friends about it. Talk to whoever you're comfortable with, because everyone has stuff going on in their life. You'll remember you'll realize that at some point or another, everyone is going through their own stuff, and it's not that anyone has it better off than you, even though that might be true. But everyone has their low points, and like this brings me to a point is that you also shouldn't shame yourself for this. I feel like everyone has been very critical of themselves before I've been critical of myself. So I know Gurmer is Gurmer is guilty of this. I keep telling him not to, but it's not helping. And like there's a way to like combat this, which I'll be talking about more. Actually, you know what? I'll just talk about it now itself. So if you are on a fat loss journey, or you're skinny, you're trying to gain weight, or like whatever it is, if you're working on it, and that's not the thing, right? You shouldn't just like take it as an excuse that, oh, everyone is bullying me, I can't get better. Try working on yourself. If you think it's going to help you out, like do it for yourself, don't do it for anyone else. So look back at where you started, take progress pics, see where you were a few months ago, a few years ago, and see how far you've come. It helps more than actually checking weight and BMIs are actually a big scam. They're not an indicator of your health in any way, especially in these ages where you're growing. You might have been like, I don't know, 50 kgs in 9th, and then 60 and 11th. That's because you're also growing. You need to realize that. It could be muscle, it could be bone density, it could be a multitude of factors. Instead, like look at how you look at yourself in the mirror, compare it to how you used to look before, and see how your body actually feels. Like see how your body is reacting to stuff and its changes. And if you're feeling good, if the doctor doesn't see any problem with it, then it's not an issue. But yeah, we'll talk more about glorifying. Actually, might as well do it, and then Gurme, we can go into our experiences and why we shouldn't like fat shame people. So there's a line between glorifying obesity and loving yourself, obviously, right? Like you can't just say that I am perfect, this is how I'm supposed to be. If you believe that you could be healthier, you could live longer, or even if you're at a stage where it's affecting you in a very negative way and is going to reduce your lifespan by a big amount, then you should try to make a difference in your life. Yeah, Kurma, sorry, I
Yeah,
spoke a lot.
I think for
For that.
it's okay, but like just going on with the glorifying obesity part, like we're not saying that you need to be ashamed of how you look, right? But if you from inside, like I'll take an example of myself. I at one point realized that I'm not happy with the way I look. At that point of time, like you shouldn't use other people bullying you as an excuse. Like when you feel like you can do something, go for it. When you see a door open for you to make a difference and like do it for yourself, go for it. Because trust me, when you see that progress, when you see how far you've come from 2 months back, 3 months back, you feel happy from inside. You feel like, yes, I've achieved something, I've accomplished something. And from inside, you don't need to show it to the world, right? The world will say something one day, the next day they'll forget. Okay, they'll forget they ever said that also. That happens a lot. People tell you stuff, then the next day they're like, I don't remember saying that. I'll tell you personally, even I've done that a lot of times. I'm guilty of that. But do it for yourself, because as Raghav said, whether you're too skinny, you're working to gain weight, or you're working to lose weight, if you do it for yourself, you'll find a whole new sense of accomplishment and achievement inside of you. So that's towards loving yourself. And I'll just move on to my personal experience, which even Raghu will share later on his. But for me, what happened was between so when I was in India before I shifted to Dubai, which was in 2013, I was like I'd say I was thin, right? I was fit. Like I was literally fit. I had like muscles and stuff for like 7 year olds. It's very like little to unheard of. I would show you pictures, but I have no pictures of myself back then. But I was in my school's athletics team. I was running. I was playing football. I was doing playing soccer. But then I came to Dubai in 2013, and thing was, it was a complete lifestyle change for me. Firstly, we had everything that I had in India. I was everything I had to start fresh over here. It's a complete different environment. Had to make new friends, everything. So during this time, and by the way, everything I say is like 100% factually accurate. Now I'm comfortable speaking about it after so many years. But what happened was that I had nothing to do because I was living in an apartment. I was living in Al Muruj, Rotana, and I had nothing to do. I had to just chill at home the full day. There was nothing to play downstairs because it was the main road. It was in downtown Dubai. So I'd spend my days eating chips and watching Dan TDM on YouTube, right? That was all I did for easily 2 3 years. Okay, I would come home after school, tiring day of school, come home, have a bag of chips next to me and watch YouTube, right? And over time that led to me gaining a lot of weight, like a lot of weight. I think I reached obese at one point, like for child standard obese, right? Not adult standard. So and my mom at that point of time told me that it's all baby fat, it'll go. So I wasn't really concerned. I'm like, as she's saying, it's baby fat. I'll lose it in 3 4 5 years. But during this time, what happened was that in school, right? In school, kids don't know that you lose this baby fat in 4 5 years because the kids are also kids. They're your age. So although it didn't happen in class much, it used to happen in my bus. There was this one person, I'm not taking names anymore, who would constantly, just shame me, call me fat, call me various stuff, which I'm not gonna say here. But and what that did was nothing. It did not motivate me to work harder. It did not motivate me to hit the gym. It did not motivate me to start running. All it did was put me down. It brought me down a lot. Every day I would go home and like I would sometimes cry, and I didn't feel like telling my mom because I don't know if she's listening now, but like I didn't feel like telling my mom because I was like, it's my issue. I should be able to deal with it, and it's my fault somewhere for eating so much in the past. And it like led me to just feel bad about the way I look. Right, I was not confident. I would not like to look myself in the mirror. I would. I just became very introverted, shy, and looking back at it at that time, I didn't know it was because of the amount of fat shaming I went through. But now looking back at it, I realized that because of these constant taunts, calling me fatty and all of these things, like it really affected me to a point where, even my, like I would start to hide my fat. I would start hunching, which I still have, right? Because of like those years of just having a hunch, like trying to cover myself. I still have that now, but everything, like my posture just became really bad, and everything, it really affected me negatively. So for those of you who think that it affects positively, it does not. I'd say that for me, it was not a motivation at that point of time, because all it did was bring me down. And although my mom used to tell me that, beta, it'll be fine in 3 4 years, it'll be fine in 4 5 years, I still to this date, because of what I had experienced at that time, still feel somewhat bad about the way I look. I look myself in the mirror and I still feel that, man, I'm not good enough. I need to lose more weight. I need to lose more weight. And although and that's what Raghav was talking about, that Gurma is guilty of that, of feeling bad about yourself and shaming yourself. And although my friends constantly tell me that, bro, you're fit enough, you're thin enough, you're fine at this point, you don't need to lose more, I still somewhere feel that no, I am not good enough at this point. And it also led me to get certain eating disorders at this point. Like what happens is I just don't feel like eating because I feel very guilty when I eat something. Even if I see a sweet and I eat it, which I haven't like touched for a while now. I think I had ice cream like 2 days back for the first time in 4 months, 5 months. When I eat it, it makes me very guilty, and I'd consulted my doctor about this, and she said that you have to have a positive relationship with your food So what fat shaming and what you're doing right now yourself is you're not having that positive relationship. You will develop certain eating disorders, and that is one thing that people who are fat shaming should realize. It does not help you by any means. It does not put a person up. It does not want them to exercise more. I've seen so many people be like, okay, if I tell them that they should exercise, they should if I tell them that they're fat, if I fat shame them, it'll give them motivation. An example of saying that does not serve any motivation at that age. All it does is provides a mental scar for you later on in your life, that you were bullied at that time and you need to be thin, you need to be this, you need to gain more weight, you need to lose more weight, right? And it sometimes, thankfully not for me, touch wood, for many people it causes them to get depressed experience, just because you are not at the receiving end of it, or you've never been fat shamed. If you do it, just stop, because you're not helping anyone. That's all I had to say. Sorry for going.
No, thank you for sharing. Like, I appreciate that a lot. And like, in the middle, like my eyes like were turning red a bit. I had to like breathe. I was like, no, can't crown counter. So, my experience was very different. I did not like have it as bad as Gurmat. I was like a chubby kid from fourth till eighth, like first term, second term. I was like, although yeah, I got made fun of a bit by a few people. It didn't really affect me as much. I was like more critical of myself personally, like more so after I lost weight. Actually, like when I was fat, like I was okay with it. I was like pretty open. I owned it, and our friend Link Vioff said this once. He's like, when you're fat as a kid, then you develop a sense of humor, and that helps you later on because you have to like you have to overcome from your securities. Like, I don't know if you want to share this, like you when he got bullied in like not bullied, like if someone made fun of him, then he just had to like diss him back funnier. And like I've heard comedians also say this in the past, like uh the greatest comedians come from struggle or hardship. I'm not very funny personally because I was fine with being fat. That's
Nah,
why
I disagree.
I have a
I
bad
disagree.
personality now. uh,
I disagree.
so yeah, for me personally, it became worse after in eighth when I did intermittent fasting and lost weight after that, and also because my main sport is swimming, right? So I was shirtless all the time. That's why I was critical of myself. I found myself like crossing my arms like this while I was outside the pool with like my like stomach tucked in. And then like I still do it a lot. Like I like when you like breathe in and like try to vacuum your stomach in, I still do that a lot. And yeah, like I just realized that it's all part of the process. My brother started going to the gym in 11th. He was like much heavier than me and he lost a lot of weight, which is something that I'm very proud of him for. He's very proud of himself also for. So I started watching this channel in 7th called Buff Dudes. And I knew like when I start going to the gym, I'll be able to make a difference. Right now I'm trying to bulk. It's 7th of July when we're recording. Hopefully when it's over, I'll be in a better place. So I've noticed like I'm eating more. Obviously, I'm going to put on more fat, and I'm okay with that. Like it's only been like 2-3 weeks. So you didn't realize like as long as you're working hard, you just have to stay consistent, and the results are going to come eventually. You just have to stick with it and have a plan. Uh, so yeah, Gurmat, you can continue with the next point of like
Yeah.
why you shouldn't fat shame. Actually, I think we've covered it. If there's anything else you want to bring
Yeah.
up, you can.
I was just gonna say, although I think I'm the person who needs to hear it the most, but like, yeah, you shouldn't praise yourself for the way you look, especially if like others. Like I think at like my age, I value a lot of like how other people see me. So if like their honest opinion is like they're fine, like they think I look fine. Like it really helps me, right? It's an ego boost. So, like from my personal experience, like that's what's helped me kind of. I think not open out because going from that introvert to extrovert thing was just like something that I went for public speaking classes. Like it wasn't anything with me becoming thinner. I still find myself like still sometimes feel that I'm still fat, although like everyone tells me I'm not. But yeah, like sometimes, like, if anybody wants, like, you just get an ego boost. Like, trust me, if somebody tells you you look fine, I know, like, you should be the person being like, okay, you're fine, because at the end, what you think of yourself only matters. But like, if you ever want an ego boost, just contact either of us. Saying we're always there, and we're always there. And like,
we'll
last
gas you up.
closing statement.
We're gonna hype you up in your comments.
Like, just let us know. Exactly. And like, just final closing statement, I'd say again, if you know someone who does it, if you do it as a joke, because I know there are many people who do it as jokes, and you have to be, firstly, don't do it if you do it as even as a joke. But if you're like 180% sure that that guy doesn't mind, and you're like very close friends, still tone it down a bit. Okay. And if you know somebody, tell them it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing to go through as a recipient of it, I can tell you. And yeah, that's all I had to say. I think we have nothing more to say with this topic, right?
Thank you guys for watching.
So if you guys
think that anything we've said in the video can help someone, either send the video to them or like communicate it to them yourselves. It's all about spreading the message. Like, we appreciate the views, but at the end of the day, as long as like it's helping someone, I think it's worth it for us. Gurmeet, you can closing remarks.
Yeah, so, and if you guys have any like anything you want to share, it doesn't have to be your experience with it. If you know any ways of getting better or coping from shaming, or like any disadvantages, do let us know as well in the comments. And any way to make yourself feel better, we're always, and again, our DMs are always open. Anyone wants to get hyped, we're hype people, hype men. Yeah, we'll always be there. So that's all we had to say. If you guys enjoyed the video, share it if you know somebody who's going through it. And yeah, we'll see you all on the next one. Bye from my side.
Thank you guys. Bye bye.